Karen Kilgariff, stay sexy and don't get murdered. Get ready to dive into the world of Karen Kilgariff's Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered, a riveting narrative about personal growth, self-acceptance, and taking responsibility for oneself. In this summary, we explore the transformative journey of Georgia Hardstark as she discovers the underground feminist punk movement, Riot Grrrl, and learns the true meaning of self-advocacy. Alongside Karen and Georgia's obsessions with true crime, we delve into the importance of seeking therapy for personal growth and learn how their experiences shape their lives. Furthermore, this summary highlights the significance of supportive relationships, the dangerous game of victim blaming, and their mutual interest in true crime that led them to become best friends and podcast partners.
Finding strength in Riot Grrrl. Georgia Hardstark struggled with low self-esteem as a kid until she discovered the feminist punk movement, Riot Grrrl. Georgia learned to be brave and say, "fuck politeness," to predators, but it wasn't always easy. After moving to Los Angeles, she faced a scary situation with a customer at work but was able to escape unharmed. Through therapy, Georgia realized that self-advocacy takes practice and that being a victim doesn't mean it's your fault. Self-care with therapy and close friends. In a world where self-care often means practicing yoga or following a vegan diet, Karen Kilgariff believes in taking responsibility for one's problems with therapy and close friend support. Karen realized that she was oversharing and blaming others for her mistakes, which led her to seek a licensed therapist's help. The therapist guided her to see the importance of having a small group of close friends whom she can trust and share her issues with. Karen learned that while it is essential to share problems, it is equally important to focus on positive aspects of friendship. She also realized that a therapist's perspective can help turn things around when feeling stuck in unhealthy habits. In conclusion, self-care is much more than a one-size-fits-all approach. Rather, it requires taking responsibility for one's problems, confiding in close friends, and seeking professional help when needed. A teenage rebel's lesson. Georgia, a rebellious teenager from a single-parent home, shoplifted to cope with her poverty and to feel in control. After getting caught, she had to call her lenient father for help, who taught her the value of supporting loved ones. She learned to be accountable and responsible for her actions. Georgia's murderous obsession. Georgia's obsession with true crime goes way back to the 1980s, when she became fascinated with horror fiction and the fear it induced in her. Her interest in real-life crime stories began with The Stranger Beside Me, a book about serial killer Ted Bundy. Although her niche interest was off-putting for many people, Georgia learned to gauge whether someone shared her fascination by looking for hints. It wasn't until she met Karen at a Halloween party in 2015 that her passion would lead to the creation of My Favorite Murder. Alongside Karen, Georgia would ultimately connect with millions of people who shared her obsession in true crime. The benefits of therapy. Therapy can be a helpful mechanism to cope with life and a positive tool for self-improvement, even without a major diagnosis. Diagnoses are necessary for insurance coverage and to work on fixing what's wrong. Georgia's empowering experiences with therapists have taught her that finding the right one is crucial. The stigma around therapy has decreased in recent years, prompting more people to seek professional counseling. Karen, who started going to therapy as an adult, recognized that it's never too late to benefit from it. Georgia, on the other hand, started seeing a therapist at the age of 6 and still finds therapy helpful. From getting diagnosed with anxiety, ADHD, depression, and OCD, Georgia has learned that a diagnosis doesn't mean disaster. Instead, diagnoses are often generalized labels for symptoms that insurance companies require coverage for. Moreover, a diagnosis provides individuals with clarity on what's wrong and enables them to work on fixing it. For example, knowing that she had ADHD, Georgia was able to seek out her therapist's help, ensuring it didn't negatively affect her career or relationships. But therapy isn't solely for people with major diagnoses. Georgia found that therapy was useful in working on being more productive. She didn't need to feel motivated to accomplish tasks, but showing up and putting in effort helped her achieve her goals. Although therapy is valuable, finding the right therapist is crucial. After a few sessions, Georgia can usually tell if a therapist has what she's looking for. And if not, she knows that there's no reason to feel discouraged. Even if it takes looking around, finding the perfect fit can be empowering. In conclusion, therapy can benefit anyone, even those without a major diagnosis. Becoming self-sufficient. Karen and Georgia suggest that to ensure personal safety, individuals must become self-sufficient. Karen learned this the hard way through her various odd jobs, including one at a frozen yogurt shop where she was fired for inappropriate conduct. Despite the embarrassment of being fired, Karen was relieved to no longer have the temptation of free yogurt. She eventually became determined to secure stand-up gigs, leading to a successful career in comedy. Learning from criticism. When Georgia and Karen started My Favorite Murder, they intended to analyze true crime stories and educate women on how to stay safe from predators. However, some listeners felt that their advice came off as victim-blaming rather than empowering. This criticism led them to reflect and shift their approach to true crime. They discovered that the best way to prevent attacks is not to place the burden of safety solely on women's behaviors. Rather, it is crucial to identify early warning signs and behaviors of the perpetrators. They learned from the story of the Scarborough rapist in Toronto, where police and local officials blamed the women for being out late at night and proposed curfews for women. With this realization, Georgia and Karen were able to transform their podcast into a tool for educating and empowering listeners to advocate for change and identify problematic and harmful behavior.
In Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered, we witness the power of self-advocacy and self-acceptance through Georgia's journey with Riot Grrrl and the importance of therapy, as exemplified by Karen and Georgia's individual experiences. Day-to-day survival is challenged by the trials of personal relationships, building self-sufficiency, and listening to instincts for safety. As the story unfolds, the lessons shared about true crime and the dangers of victim blaming remind us all of the pressing need for awareness and understanding. Embrace this captivating summary as a guide to becoming the best and most unapologetically authentic version of yourself, appreciating the value of close friendships and the impact they can have on our overall well-being.